Hi guys, welcome back to Community Starcraft 2. This is Game 5, the final game in the series, and WhiteRa with the smiley face saying good luck, have fun. He is on a huge roll. He was down 2-0 and he's brought it back to 2-2. So whoever can win this game will move on in this tournament. And this was, again, the ASUS ROG Invitational that was held in Finland this last weekend. So pretty cool tournament there. Really kind of flew under the radar, so I wanted to get a few of those replays out, as I tend to do. So we'll go ahead and introduce our players here. The red Zerg player is Liquid Ret, spawning on the bottom left-hand side of Shakuras Plateau. In the close by your position is WhiteRa. He's our blue Protoss, and he's looking to complete the comeback here if he can take this 5th game. So we'll see who is able to do it. Ret is correctly scouting with his Overlord right away, and WhiteRa looks like he's going to be correctly scouting with his Probe right away. And you'll see everything that Ret is able to do. He's been liking the Forge Expand every game, which is really normal for Protosses to do nowadays. I really think that that is the best build for this matchup, at least economically. A lot of people don't like the vulnerability of it, but I think that can be overcome with scouting. And scouting in this matchup is a little weird as Protoss because of how easily they can deny everything. So there's some unconventional scouting missions that we'll talk about. And look at this. He's actually opening with a gateway right off the bat instead of a forge. So it's interesting that I call attention to that, and he does something completely different. And I swear I don't watch these games before they happen. So yeah, that's really strange. Here's a spawning pool coming down here out of Ret. Once again, he's ran pretty much the same opener every game. It's been about a 14 pool every game with a hatchery as soon as he can afford it. WhiteRa has tried some weird cannon and pylon blocking shenanigans that haven't really worked out. So Ret has been able to at least get his natural up fairly safely. This drone is trying to race the probe down there so that he can set up the hatchery without being blocked by it. And this small fight, of course, is very exciting. WhiteRa is just going to go ahead and drop a pylon and leave, which I think is actually the best response if you see them go 14 pool. But this gateway is really intriguing. Here's a Zealot being started right off the bat. And I don't know if he's actually going to start a second one and chrono it. He has chrono energy, and he actually just chronoed his Nexus, so never mind. Yeah, so this Overlord, I mean, if you see this kind of setup out of Protoss, this just says Forge Expand all the way. So Ret is going to come down here, and you definitely still want to check. You can't just automatically assume that that's what's going on. WhiteRa's pylon does finish here, so he doesn't actually cancel it. But once he sees this, he's going to see the pylon here, and he's going to see the gateway, and then he's just going to be like, oh no, this is really bad. There are 4 Zerglings out here for Ret, which can kill the 1 Zealot. So WhiteRa's going to need some good micro out of this. He's going to go ahead and hold the Watchtower. Ret should know about this, as he can now see the Zealot running across the map. So the expansion does now coming down here for WhiteRa. He's going to want to place his Forge here, at least so I would think. Like, this is, I don't know, this is really weird, a really weird opener out of WhiteRa. The 1 Probe and 1 Zealot are still hanging out over here. The other thing this could be is some kind of weird Nexus cancel play. But yes, Cybernetics Core starts. He's not even going to grab a Forge. This is really rare. The 4 Zerglings are now completely out of position. WhiteRa is now checking for a 3rd here, trying to see where he wants to send those Zealots. The 2 Zealots are actually just at his front door. Ret really needs to pay attention to this Nexus, because this really screams a Nexus cancel play. But we'll see what's actually going to happen out of this. Ret goes ahead and takes a 3rd, and this is the opportune time. I think if you're ever going to run a Nexus cancel build, you need to get a Stalker out and kill this Overlord, obviously, which WhiteRa's gas mining is really behind. If he can actually kill this Overlord, this 3rd basically says, please Nexus cancel all in me, because it'll kill me. There's no way I can hold it off unless you just completely screw up your attack. And Ret knows that WhiteRa has this scouting information, so this is a really weird place in this game. Stalker's now being chronoed out to push this Overlord away, but the Nexus finishes, so we're not going to see any weird Nexus cancel stuff coming down. But we could see a really fast, just 4 or 5 gate follow-up, and these Zerglings are going to run in here and see everything that's going on, which he's not going to see much, so that's probably pretty, I guess, soothing for Ret to see this. I don't really know a better word to use. Typically soothing, people would think of like bubble baths, but no. In Ret's case, it's actually seeing nothing in Protoss base in the situation. But yeah, 2 Zealots are heading up here to the 3rd base here of Ret, just forcing him to produce more units. And this is actually an interesting opener. I really like it after seeing where it's going. This leaves a lot of flexibility, because Zergs will automatically assume that you're Forge expanding, but you get the safety of a Forge expand here without having to drop a Forge and cannons. So this is intriguing. WhiteRa really pooling minerals right now So I would not be surprised if he dropped a whole bunch of gateways right away, but the difference with this is that usually with a gateway all-in like this, especially off of 2 bases, you're usually going to have attack upgrades, and he's not going to have them. But here come the gateways. 4 more gates here in his main, and that's going to put him up to a total of 5. So yeah, I mean, this just, if you're Zerg and you see this kind of stuff, this just totally screams a gateway all-in or gateway pressure. So yeah, WhiteRa is going to come in here, try to focus down the queen, which is actually pretty smart. One zealot almost dies there. He's at 5 hit points. One more hit from the queen would have killed him. This is going to be a really fast and really brutal follow-up, as WhiteRa is just preventing any mining from this 3rd base. There's now a 6th gateway coming down here, and a 7th. This is so all-in. WhiteRa needs this to kill Ret right away, or else he's going to be so far behind. But here comes the setup here from WhiteRa. A lot of Zerglings and stuff being rallied to the front of WhiteRa's base, so WhiteRa just goes ahead and walls off with a pylon. And once again, since these zealots do not have +1, this is really going to make this a lot weaker than you'd otherwise expect. But yeah, here comes a lot of attacks here. The Zerglings actually do clean up a lot of the units in the middle, but WhiteRa doesn't really seem to care. There's so many roaches on the way here, and these 5 zealots are coming in here to try to cancel this hatch. They're not going to be able to because there's going to be too many roaches on the field. So WhiteRa has to run back home. These 2 more gateways finish up here, and he has basically full mining at both of his bases. So here we go. This is going to here we're going to be expecting a lot more weapons here to WhiteRa as soon as he gets the attention to get those down. I'm not really sure what he's focusing on right now. There's a probe just sitting up here at the 3rd, as the zealot and this roach actually battle it out, and the roach loses because it's not being microed at all. So WhiteRa picking off a couple of roaches for free here. That's really beneficial. The roaches are just being rallied to the front of WhiteRa's base, and there's actually a lot of sentries and stalkers already positioned here. So the harassment continues here, as Red is just losing a lot of stuff here unnecessarily to these zealots, so he could just be microing away from them. So yeah, these zealots are getting a lot more mileage out of them than need be. Here come the roach attack at the front, and WhiteRa just force fields them in, makes them commit, and they're going to die for free. So I think Red is actually handling this awfully. Look at him take a 4th during all this. What is he thinking? WhiteRa is so all in right now, and as soon as these stalkers move across the map, he's still going to be on basically 2 bases worth of mining, and taking a 4th during this? I don't get it, but yeah, here comes WhiteRa pressing up in here once again to try and kill drones at this 3rd base, and he's going to at least stop them from mining. So this is still effectively 2 base to 2 base, and Ret really thinks he can get away with taking a 4th at this time. This is just really bad instincts out of Ret. As you can see, a lot more units rallying up here, and this force for WhiteRa is growing huge. 88 to 69 supply. A couple of spine crawlers are starting to come up here at the natural. Make that 5, but if WhiteRa just goes for it, those aren't going to be done by the time he gets there. And I'm not even sure what Ret wants to do. I mean, he has, he's still on, oh no, he does actually have his lair. I was just going to say, I did see it coming up, but he's not like getting a spire or anything behind this. He's just still trying to put out Zerglings, but, oh, this is so questionable out here out of Ret. WhiteRa sees all these spines are not done and just says, oh, okay, cool, let's go. And all these drones are going to have to buffer a lot of damage here. WhiteRa needs to throw down a couple of defensive force fields, especially in the back. And yeah, it's perfect timing. Look at that position on the zealot. So WhiteRa is just trying to kill as much as he can here. Ret is just trying to kill as much as he can with his Zerglings, obviously. And this is going to be really close here, but look how much stuff Ret has already lost. 55 to 87 supply. And the 3rd of Ret goes down. The 4th has to have been cancelled, so he could get the minerals back from it. So the push is actually kind of cleaned up, but look at this warp prism here in the main, warping in so many zealots, and now Ret is down to 1 mining base, and essentially 1 base worth of reinforcements. All the drones being retransferred in here. This is so bad to have drones fighting zealots. He's going to lose so many. The warp prism is actually being slightly pushed out. He's actually going to pick up these zealots and just bypass all these spine crawlers here. So WhiteRa just putting on a clinic in this game of how to just read a Zerg and completely punish him so hard for making such bad decisions. He's just warping in nothing but zealots once again, and these zealots are just going to take so much damage, and he's going to actually kill the roach war and prevent any more roaches from popping out. That's it for Red. That's what you get, and Red just goes ahead and says good game and good luck in the rest of the tournament. Oh my god, we could sniff that out from the first moment we saw all this getting put down. I mean, it just screams gateway all in, and Red... Yeah, let's go ahead and take a 3rd and let WhiteRa scout it. Yeah, let's go ahead and take a 4th while he's still pressuring me. Like, what? And let's waste all of our units here at the front door when he can easily just force field me in and outrange me. I don't know. Like I said, I think it was game 4, Red is one of those players that goes from looking really good to just looking really, really bad, like one right after the other. And I don't mean to be overly critical because these are really hard games, but if you see this opener, I mean, he's skipping his forge, and that means that gateway pressure is a lot more imminent because it doesn't have to spend any minerals on forge and cannon and stuff like that. And especially if you can get any scouting into his main, he didn't see anything. And you should know this is going on, and you see him placing aggressive pylons, you see him trying to cancel your third and prevent mining. Why would you ever take another base? Why would you ever hold out on so many roaches for so long? I don't know. I mean, again, I don't want to be overly critical of Rhett, but I feel like I have to be because I don't know what conditions you would ever want to make those decisions if you actually knew what was going on. So yeah, I mean, not to take any success away from WhiteRa because he was down 2-0 and did come back to take this series 3-2. So really big comeback there out of WhiteRa, looking quite good in the last few games, and really just kind of WhiteRa-esque stuff. Just getting a lot of mileage out of Zealots and Stargate units and stuff like that, and just eventually wearing people down because of his multitasking and multi-pronged harass, and really understanding RTSs from a base standpoint. So really nice play there out of WhiteRa. Just terrible play there out of Rhett in the last game. Yeah, I don't really know what else to say, but thanks for watching here. And I will be getting my tutorial videos up for each race here in the next few days, so stay tuned for those. Appreciate you watching. Have a good night, and we'll see you later.